Hello and welcome. Today we journey back in time to explore one of history's most complex and misunderstood political entities, the Holy Roman Empire. The French philosopher Voltaire famously quipped that it was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. While witty, this statement oversimplifies a 1,000-year history that profoundly shaped modern Europe. So, what was this entity that dominated the heart of the continent for a millennium? Join us as we unravel the story of the Holy Roman Empire, from its ambitious beginnings to its eventual dissolution. Our story begins in the year 800, on Christmas Day. In Rome, Pope Leo III placed a crown on the head of the Frankish king Charlemagne, declaring him Emperor of the Romans. This act was a symbolic revival of the Western Roman Empire, which had collapsed over 3 centuries earlier. Charlemagne's vast realm, the Carolingian Empire, united much of Western and Central Europe. He saw himself as a protector of Christendom, a Christian emperor ruling a unified Christian state. However, after his death, his empire fragmented. The idea of a single unified Christian empire in the West, however, endured. The true foundation of what would become the Holy Roman Empire was laid in 962. A powerful German king, Otto the Great, marched into Italy to protect the papacy. In gratitude, Pope John X crowned him emperor, reviving the imperial title established by Charlemagne. Otto's domain, centered on the German kingdom, became the core of this new empire. Unlike Charlemagne's Frankish realm, Otto's empire was more distinctly German, though it also included the Kingdom of Italy and, later, Burgundy. The term holy was added later in the 12th century to emphasize its divine authority, while Roman asserted its continuity with the ancient Caesars. One of the defining features of the Holy Roman Empire was its unique political structure. It was not a centralized state like modern nations. Instead, it was a decentralized collection of hundreds of territories, duchies, principalities, free cities, and bishoprics, all under the nominal rule of an emperor. The emperor himself was not a hereditary monarch in the typical sense. He was chosen by a small group of powerful nobles and clergymen known as the prince-electors. This elective system meant that the emperor's power was often limited. He had to constantly negotiate with his powerful vassals, making governance a complex balancing act of diplomacy, marriage alliances, and occasional warfare. The relationship between the emperor and the pope was central to the empire's history, and often its greatest source of conflict. Initially, they were seen as 2 universal powers leading Christendom, the emperor in political matters and the pope in spiritual ones. But this division was rarely clear-cut. The most famous clash was the investiture controversy in the 11th and 12th centuries. The core of the dispute was who had the right to appoint bishops and other church officials, the emperor or the pope. This struggle for supremacy culminated in the dramatic image of Emperor Henry IV kneeling in the snow at Canossa, begging for the Pope's forgiveness. While a compromise was eventually reached, the conflict permanently weakened the emperor's authority and underscored the growing power of the papacy. The late Middle Ages saw the empire reach its territorial peak, but also face internal decline. Under the Hohenstaufen dynasty, emperors like Frederick Barbarossa and Frederick II fought to reassert imperial authority in Italy, clashing repeatedly with the Pope and the rising city-states of the Lombard League. While these emperors were formidable figures, their focus on Italy allowed the German princes to consolidate their own power back home, further decentralizing the empire. By the end of the 13th century, the era of powerful interventionist emperors was largely over. The empire became more of a loose confederation, with the emperor acting more as an arbiter than a supreme ruler. The 16th century brought a challenge that would tear the empire apart: the Protestant Reformation. In 1517, Martin Luther, a monk and professor in the imperial territory of Saxony, nailed his 95 Theses to a church door, protesting practices of the Catholic Church. His ideas spread rapidly thanks to the printing press. Many German princes, eager to seize church lands and reduce imperial and papal influence, embraced the new faith. This religious division plunged the empire into more than a century of conflict, culminating in the devastating 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648. The war, one of the deadliest in European history, was not just a religious struggle. It was also a political battle for control of the empire, drawing in foreign powers like Sweden and France. The Peace of Westphalia in 1648, which ended the 30 Years' War, was a critical turning point. It officially recognized the religious division within the empire, granting rulers the right to choose the religion of their state. More importantly, it granted the imperial states or territories a high degree of sovereignty, including the right to form alliances with foreign powers. The emperor's power was now drastically curtailed, and the empire became a collection of virtually independent states. While the imperial institutions, like the imperial diet or assembly, continued to function, the Holy Roman Empire was now a shadow of its former self, a loose political framework rather than a unified power. During its final century, the Holy Roman Empire witnessed the rise of two major German powers within its borders. Austria, led by the Habsburg dynasty, which traditionally held the imperial title, and the upstart Kingdom of Prussia, led by the ambitious Hohenzollern dynasty. The rivalry between Austria and Prussia dominated German politics in the 18th century, with conflicts like the War of the Austrian Succession and the 7 Years' War fought to determine supremacy in Central Europe. This internal power struggle further demonstrated the empire's inability to act as a unified entity. The emperor in Vienna had little real authority over the powerful king in Berlin. The final blow came from outside. The French Revolution and the subsequent rise of Napoleon Bonaparte shattered the old political order of Europe. In a series of brilliant military campaigns, Napoleon defeated the armies of Austria and other German states. He reorganized much of Germany into the Confederation of the Rhine, a French satellite state, effectively pulling these territories out of the Holy Roman Empire. Faced with this reality, the last Holy Roman Emperor, Francis II, made a pragmatic decision. On August 6, 1806, he formally abdicated and declared the empire dissolved. After 844 years, the Holy Roman Empire ceased to exist. So what is the legacy of this neither holy nor Roman nor an empire? Its history is the story of a 1,000-year experiment in supranational governance. It was an attempt to maintain a universal Christian ideal in a politically fragmented world. Its decentralized nature allowed for a remarkable diversity of cultures, legal systems, and local identities to flourish, shaping the federal character of modern Germany and Austria. The long-standing idea of a united Europe, now embodied in the European Union, echoes the ambitions of Charlemagne and Otto the Great. The Holy Roman Empire may be long gone, but its complex legacy continues to influence the political and cultural landscape of Europe to this day. Thank you for joining us on this journey through a millennium of history. If you found this video informative, please give it a like and subscribe for more explorations into the past. We'll see you next time.